Hello and welcome. Fortress, Alaska is now at the National Museum of the United States Air Force in beautiful Dayton, Ohio. They don't quite open yet. I'm here just a few minutes early, so we'll look around. And I'm in flat country, not used to this. Used to seeing mountains everywhere I look, or ocean. But here we are at the National Museum of the United States Air Force, and we'll be going inside shortly. And that's the entrance over there. Just a little video here, Hawker Hurricane. And I can't tell you the names of all these, but we're just gonna do a panning tour. I have decided there's just way too much to take pictures of everything. So I'm gonna scan around, do videos, and then get pictures of very specific things. But yes, it's an amazing museum. I'm already thrilled to be here, and I've only just walked in the door. And here's one if you're really brave, if you can imagine flying in that. That was somebody with a lot of intestinal fortitude. So yes, the internal construction of the World War I type aircraft looks like balsa wood and baling wire. I'm not so sure I'd be willing to fly in one of these. That does not look safe. And for you sports car fans, the Bugatti King 10 engine. A massive engine for its day. I just have a special place in my heart for the 37. Yeah, it may be an old plane, it may not be a fast plane, but it is a fun plane. Okay, now time for another panoramic view of all what's in here. And always remember to look up when you're in this museum or you're gonna miss stuff. Lots of aircraft, there's no way I can remember them all or name them all. But they are definitely worth seeing. This is an amazing museum if you're ever in Ohio. I mean, that gives you one reason to go to Ohio. Maybe the only reason to go to Ohio. Sorry, people in Ohio, but definitely worth coming just to see this. Yes, the F4 gets its own video. Probably one of the greatest fighters ever made, and still my favorite. Still in use today. Been flying for almost 70 years now, and it's still combat capable even in the modern era. A few avionics upgrades. It can carry the latest and greatest weapons. Even has guns these days. It was known as the Flying Kludge. Those you know what that means, good for you. But there it is, the F4. Okay, just had to explain this because yes, the Air Force still used revolvers even when I was on active duty. So, revolver was even a modern combat weapon into the 1980s. Hard to imagine that, an M16. Well, just gasoline. That's technically not M16, but close enough. And a revolver on his hip. Right, and a video for the F-111 Aardvark. Just the worst name for an airplane I've ever heard, the Aardvark. Anyways, a good fighter bomber. Definitely worth seeing. We'll just pan around since we're here. That's the tail of a B-52 that goes all the way up there. It's a B-52 is an enormous plane if you've never seen one in person. And I think they stopped making those in 1963 or 4, so they're old. Okay, another panorama because there's just some things too big to just get pictures of. So we'll just do a quick panorama here. And coming around to the F-22. I see those all the time. Coming back around. Once again, I don't think you could pay me to fly in that thing. And then we have something over here that looks like something out of Star Wars. Okay, here we have the F-86 and the MiG-15. As you can see, they're quite similar. The MiG-15 is smaller, lighter, faster, could fly higher, and could probably turn better. But it's just really amazing how similar these two planes are. The MiG is a mid-wing, while the F-86 is a low wing. and they're relatively quite small. I mean, look at it, it's really just a jet engine with a guy sitting on top of it and a pair of wings. There is not much to these aircraft. The early jet fighters, so small in comparison to what we have today, and not that much bigger than World War II aircraft, if some of them are smaller, and enormous compared to World War I. Okay, now we're going to do a walkthrough of a B-29 fuselage. Quite interesting to see just how small these aircraft are, but we're going to walk through it now. Okay, so this is walking in through the nose. Obviously this isn't how you'd actually do it in the aircraft, but get you in through the nose. Pilot controls there. One pilot sitting on this side, one on this side. This would be the co-pilot, because that's what it says. Your flight engineer back here, engine controls. You can see flying the B-29. And some walking through here. This is the crew tunnel, obviously probably to get to any things it needs to get to for maintenance, guns, whatever. Radio station. And the bomb bay. And we'll keep walking through. And some more bombs. A little interesting, most people don't know about the B-29 is when they first made the atomic bomb, the geniuses, literal geniuses working on it, failed to account for it had to fit in the B-29, and it doesn't. They had to specially modified B-29s to be able to carry the atomic bombs. They were considering using British Lancasters because they wouldn't have to be modified, but the idea of having to use a British Lancaster to drop the atomic bomb was just too much for the US government to swallow, so they modified the B-29 to carry it. And just some more panning around here. More huge airplanes. More stuff to look up at the ceiling. Always look up when you're in air and space museums. Time for another quick panorama. Once again, remember to look up when in an air and space museum. It's a B-1 bomber back there. There's a B-2 over there too. I already got pictures. We have an A-10 Warthog. Tail of I don't know what. A C-130. And I believe a C-12, if I remember correctly. So, and then we come back up here. Like I said, remember to look up. I almost missed this one. So this was what I was talking about. This F4 was used during combat in Iraq. So, tells you they are still a viable aircraft today. Which is amazing for something that was designed on paper by hand, no computer access, and really basically designed in the, what, 1950s. And that's a MiG-29 behind it. And there's a British Tornado over there. And I'll just do another pan since I'm at it anyways. It's amazing, this hangar has a lot of very large aircraft, so there's aircraft under aircraft. And like I said, always look up. This hangar area has an overlook, so we're just going to do a big pan of the area. Here we go to the space shuttle. So, see if I can get some pictures from up here, because video doesn't always do it justice. Just some more video. Trying to get different views of things. But we'll go walk around and get pictures. In case you ever want to see what a jet engine looks like on the inside, they have that here also. The turbines, compressors, all showing you how they work. And on the back, the thrust comes out. And so, It's used in quite a few different aircraft. It's a common jet engine. This is the General Electric J79 turbojet. And so that's what a jet engine looks like on the inside. Okay, time for another quick pan around. I'm headed into the presidential gallery, so that would be presidential aircraft, United States of America. And we'll try to get some pictures. But these are big planes inside small hangar. You can't really step back and get good pictures. But it is definitely interesting to see. Another video from the other side. And I think this is what I'm going to do instead of trying to get pictures. Just pan around. Okay, it's very crowded in the World War II section, but I do have a moment now where I can pan around and show some stuff. Just give you a passing view. It's just so much stuff in here. Here we have a German Ju-88. Unusual aircraft to have. So, there we go. Just pass around a bit. And of course, everyone recognizes a Spitfire. I think it's a DC-3 back there, but let's go check. Got another bit of a quiet spot in the museum. There's an ME-163. And then we come around to the most classic World War II fighter, the ME-262. The first truly operational military jet fighter. It is parked alongside a P-47D. We can wander around and see that. But it's an impressive aircraft. We got other things up above, but that's that 262 we want to see. And then the P-47, and it is a P-47D. I'm better at some planes than others. P-47s were huge. You don't realize how big they are. They're one of the biggest fighters of World War II. I mean, it dwarfs that 262. But it's definitely a big aircraft. And we're seeing. So this is a B-29 bomber. This is the one who dropped the bomb on Nagasaki. A major piece of U.S. and world history. Just impressive. Most people don't realize the B-29 was the most expensive development project of World War II. Even cost more than developing the atomic bomb itself. So it's actually quite the bomber. It's tiny and insignificant by today's standards, but for World War II it was very impressive. Just a little video in the Memphis Belle area. Body armor. Yes, body armor's not new. Medical dressings. Various helmets. Armored helmets used for different things for bomber crew protection. Some Luftwaffe, some American, some British. Just to show you some helmets. And for all those woke Disney people out there, remember Walt Disney was a huge supporter of the U.S. military and did a lot to aid the troops during World War II. Did a lot of insignias for units, a lot of nose arts for units. He designed a lot of things for the morale of the U.S. military during World War II. So, just something to see. Well, I'm not going to suffer through the whole video with you, but
famous cartoon characters into battle dress. They're in popular demand as emblems for the armed forces. Here's how an Air Corps insignia is created.
and maybe we'll watch a bit more.
This assignment is for the Marines Amphibious Force. A very tough commando tortoise ready for the war.
You can come here to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and watch it all yourself. I'm just going to give a short panoramic view of this part of the museum. This is, I think, the most impressive part of the museum, actually. It's just a little display of what prisoners of war did during World War II in Europe, the things they made, and the ingenuity they used, taking bits and scraps of stuff to make things useful to them, including implements for escape. So if you're here, definitely check this out. It's impressive what people can do in the worst of conditions with nothing but scrap material and whatever they can dig up. So just may want to pause this so you can read anything you might want to read. The bottom section shows the stark difference between being a prisoner of war in Europe and being a prisoner of war to the Japanese. So you might want to pause it and take your time to read it. It's an important part of history. We must remember the past. Of course, along with aircraft, they have early engines here to look at, and wind tunnels. There's several different wind tunnels. I'm probably not going to get pictures of them all, but early wind tunnels that they would use for testing for design. Wind tunnels are not a new thing. They've been around for over 100 years. There's also an outside park area with some displays, memorials, you might say, places to picnic. Nice place to walk around in good weather. It's a cold, blustery day here, so I just get some film for it. But once again, the United States, the National Museum of the United States Air Force. Come visit. I have spent 7 hours, yes, 7 hours in the National Museum of the United States Air Force, and it was worth every minute of it. If I could, I would spend more time there, but I need to get back. My time is not unlimited, but if you are ever anywhere near Dayton, Ohio, come to the museum here. If you're interested in aircraft or anything like that, you really need to see this museum. Some things I didn't bother to get pictures of. They do have a cafeteria. You have two cafeterias, actually. Cafeteria food is acceptable. It'll feed you and you get some drinks. They also have a very large gift shop. So needless to say, I did some Christmas shopping and of course bringing gifts back for my children. So anyways, and there's still more stuff outside, but in all honesty, these same planes are on the inside, so no reason to walk outside. Looking, there's be an A-10, an F-15, some other things. So once again, if you're ever in Dayton, Ohio, definitely come and plan on spending a day. Now this is, I would like to say, you know, this is for geek out Air Force, aircraft, you know, aviation type people. If you have a little interest in that, it's not for you. Also with small children, you're not going to be able to spend 7 hours here. But if you have adults or more older children who enjoy this type of stuff, this is worth an all-day event. This is worth coming here for a weekend just to go to this museum. So once again, this is Fortress Alaska. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.